and Liss, the name of the program, is the way to go. I invite you to join me as we explore places to go and things to do. We're going to take a ride today. We're going to be riding on the Carousel. And when I say on the Carousel, that's because the Carousel is the name of the show, which is now playing at the Westchester Broadway Theater. And two of the stars of the show are here today to talk about it and talk about what it's like to being in a classic. They are Michael J. Farina and Kim Lindsay. And I'm so glad that you both came here today. And when I mention that Carousel is a classic, it is a classic. Rodgers and Hammerstein had Oklahoma, and their second show, of course, is Carousel, with all these great, memorable songs, which we'll go into. How does it feel? You're both experienced. You both played at the Westchester Broadway Theater before. You've done other things. How does it feel when you're in a classic? Does it change your approach to the show?
Well, I think one thing about a classic that I think helps anybody who's in it, and that is that you're working with a really good piece of material. There are many shows out that fall short of that at this point in today's world. And I think that something like Carousel, the meat and potatoes are all there. It's all laid out for you, and you just take it with you as you're putting it together.
Does it affect at all your attitude about, being up there and knowing that there are so many people who have done this so well before you, and you're kind of up there? This show is full of surprises, and you two are, to me, although I've seen you in other shows, are surprises because your roles are so strong. Has it feel? We've been there. There was John Raitt in the original, right? Mm-hmm. And Gordon McRae played the lead in the film. And a couple of years ago, it had a tremendous run at the Vivian Beaumont Theater in Lincoln Center. How does it feel to know that you're following in those footsteps?
Well, I think echoing what Michael was saying, for me, it really is a pleasure because the role that I'm playing, Carrie Pipridge, who marries Mr. Snow, is a really wonderfully written role. So that's actually very hard to say. Wonderfully well written.
Well, you did well the first time.
Thank you. Not as well the second time. It's really a pleasure to do a part that is that well crafted. It's a comedic part, which is a lot of fun for me to play because normally I am not cast in roles that are funny, and so for me to play a character that's broadly comic is really a pleasure every night because in a way I don't have to work that hard to make her funny and make it come over. And I'm sure, Michael, you may feel the same way with Mr. Snow, that if you just play the words as they're written, they're funny. You don't have to work all that hard to make it work. In original shows I've done, sometimes you have to really put in a whole extra lot of thought and sweat behind trying to make it actually come to life. And this one, I'm not saying it's not work, but it's a pleasure.
Yeah, it is work, though, isn't it? Having watched the stage manager work at the Westchester Broadway Theater, and I realized how much everything is so carefully planned out, and the lighting and the effects and everything takes place, and every place that the performers have to be at a precise moment. It's amazing. But you said something about funny and serious. Now, you did Christine in Phantom at the Westchester Broadway Theater, which is certainly a serious role. And you don't usually do comedy then?
No, I don't.
Why?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Probably
another surprise.
One of the surprises to me is the range of your voice, and this of course, this role allows you to really do some very interesting things there, and I think that's probably why you get the more serious role. Yeah, talk about surprises. The first time you open your mouth when you get out there, you really...
Yeah, it comes from somewhere.
Sucks it to him.
And you really, it's unexpected. You're aware of that audience reaction is going to happen?
Yeah, I think it's definitely set up. Again, going back to a classic, it's written so well that the audience is so built up at that point to, who is this Mr. Snow?
Yes.
I come out and
they've heard the name mentioned several times before they actually
They have their own also imagery. It works in I'm sure in that case because they don't know what he looks like. Do they imagine he's some big strapping guy, and here comes this short kind of curly-cued head.
Yes.
You know.
And then that voice.
And yeah, the voice doesn't hurt to help, yeah.
So actually, there are 4 starring roles in this. Generally, you two are on the stage quite a bit and have some very important numbers, even though, of course, Billy and Julie are the leads in this.
Right.
And Joe Mahowald has been on this program before when he was there. I mean, he's powerful. He's so versatile. He did Gigi, and he did, what was the other one that he did? The Sayonara.
Sayonara,
Right.
that's right.
Yeah, it's. That soliloquy. I think everybody knows soliloquy. It's such a great number.
Wonderful piece, and it's great to hear every. I think every person brings their own images to a piece like that. I mean, and it's so great to hear somebody like Joe putting it together and having that picture. It's in his mind. You know what I mean? It's all about what somebody brings, that actor brings to each performance.
Sorry, I was just about to add to, speaking of what you bring, or you were mentioning the fact that how many different people had played roles before, that Frank Sinatra was supposed to be the film Billy Bigelow. And it was not going to be Gordon McRae. And the reason that Sinatra didn't actually do it is they were filming in Boothbay Harbor, Maine, and they got there. He arrived on the set the day that he was supposed to start filming, and he got out of his limo. Apparently, there were 2 cameras. And normally you would just use one camera to make a film, and then they would reset the shots. Well, they were filming in 2 different processes. So Sinatra said, I don't understand, why are there the 2 cameras? He said, well, we're going to be doing every single shot in the film twice. And he said, no, I'm not. And he got back in his limo and he left.
That's a great story.
So Shirley Jones actually, what are we going to do? And she called, and Gordon McRae was available and played the role, but it would have been Sinatra doing the soliloquy, and I don't know if I can imagine that. Only in my imagination.
He has since gone on to record it, and
I was going to say that.
It's certainly a classic.
Right. It would be interesting to have seen the performance.
Right.
The fact is that for whatever reason, he can do anything, and I have never quite understood what it is that makes him great or made him great, but I know that there's something, whether it's feeling or phrasing or all the things that we've heard.
Right.
He's got it.
Yeah.
whatever
it meant.
Right.
So now let's go back to the beginning. The name of the show is Carousel, and of course, the Carousel plays a very important part visually in the show, and we've got a wonderful picture of the carousel that is actually on stage, and how it appears. Well, we'll just keep that a little secret because it's one of the surprises of what it is. So just a little bit about the story. Carousel is what in the show?
What the actual carousel is?
No. Why is it called Carousel? How does a carousel figure in the show?
Well, you could get really philosophical, perhaps, and say that it's about life's up and downs and things like that. But I actually, it's where Billy Bigelow works, and maybe it's sort of the ideal, the beauty, the kind of enticement of life, as opposed to maybe the more gritty reality. I think he kind of lives in his own
which certainly
fantasy
makes
world.
sense, because the carousel is that fantasy world where everything is perfect.
Yes.
Come ride the carousel. You'll forget all about life, and the story that comes out of this carousel is very much about real life and about people getting hurt and promises broken and not such nice people. And that's what definitely real life is.
And it's very interesting that you say that the role that you play is fun. It's a fun role, and yours to extent.
To a degree,
But it's a very serious subject.
Yes, we're the comic relief, really.
And actually, probably, although it is musical theater, it is a serious musical theater.
Absolutely.
And yet the songs in it are so beautiful. They're let's run down some of them. I'm sure people will know them. Go ahead.
Gosh, first one come to mind just now is "If I Loved You."
Yes.
When the children are asleep.
Great.
June is busting out all over.
Yeah.
I can forget that.
Yeah.
You'll never walk alone.
That's a great piece.
It's so great. The number that when the children are asleep that you do together. that sums up family life so well. And they're not short numbers, are they?
No.
Certainly soliloquy is probably the
Yes.
longest in all of theater. But when the children are asleep, it kind of, well...
I think what's nice about, even you saying they're all long numbers, I think what is nice and great about a piece like this is that they're transitional within itself. Like when the children are asleep, we talk about getting married. Then we talk about, what's going to happen? How wonderful it's going to be when we have all those kids and we can have our time alone. And then it gets into, wait a minute, the kids are going to be there. We'll never have any time alone. And so it just kind of jumps back and forth to images of...
It's a narrative of life. And of course, on screen, on stage, with wigs and makeup and extra hair, you two guys look a little different.
I think we do a little.
Yeah.
I think that costumes and makeup and lighting are so important in the theater. People probably don't realize that there's so much in this image making that is done by the way you're dressed and the way you walk. An actor walks differently in the role. There's a lot of body language that goes into that.
Totally.
And talking about wigs, I'm always fascinated now that I know that everybody is wearing microphones on where the microphone is. Now, where do you wear them? Where do you...
You mean to feel that one first? Mine is directly in the center of my head, under my bangs. So it's quite a process. I get to the theater a half hour, which means I'm there an hour before the show starts, just to pin curl all of my hair into little pin curls so I can put it under a little nylon wig cap, and then I put my microphone over that. So it's quite a process.
And the transmitter?
To get into. The transmitter is in a pack, which is around my waist and sits in the small of my back.
What do people do when they have short hair? And
in wigs, you mean?
No, where do they put the transmitter? If your wig comes down and you don't see the wire
right
underneath your wig.
Right.
Well, sometimes in some shows, I don't think they do it here.
I can certainly vouch for that. When there is a wire that comes out from my hair, they put a piece of flesh tape around the wire to match where the flesh shows on my neck, and it's taped down, and it goes through down to the transmitter, and hopefully nobody sees it.
I recently saw Chicago, and their costumes are kind of skimpy, and the hair is short, and I can't see where the wires are.
If they're wearing wigs, it's quite possible that they're actually wearing the transmitter inside of the wig. Once you pin curl your hair, then you actually put the pack on the back of your head or somewhere on top, and then you place the wig over it.
Right. That's definitely the other.
That's amazing.
Thing that women would do.
One of the things that's sad about this is that the songs all work together with the libretto and the dance. There's dance in this, but it's not the kind of a Broadway dancing show, is it? And yet, it's a dancing show.
There's quite a bit of dance in it, actually, and of course there's the ballet also in the second act.
Yes.
And I think it's done very beautifully. They worked very hard on it, and I think it's a really lovely moment. I know when they were first rehearsing it, we'd all come out, those of us who really weren't involved in especially the pas de deux section, would come and just watch them because it's really lovely. And you don't certainly find that in modern shows anymore. The dancing has become more and more minimal as new shows seem to come up. It's basically about the scenery and about the spectacle and about things landing and cars coming in, and not about dancing. Dancing is really
and the simple expression.
That's why the old shows are so great, and we'll talk a little bit about the other classics that are coming to the Westchester Broadway Theater after your run is completed. But at this point, I do want to remind our viewers that we're talking about Carousel at the Westchester Broadway Theater, and two of the stars of the show are here today, Michael J. Farina and Kim, I'll always do this, Kim Lindsay.
It's okay.
The Kim is easy. It's the Lindsay that gets me. I always tell people that I forget a lot of things, but the best time was the time that I forgot the name of my own show, so it's not too bad about that. There's also another great number in there, You'll Never Walk Alone.
Yes.
And somehow although I've seen this show many times, I'd forgotten that it was in there. It really knocks you dead, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, it gets me every night. It really does. For me, as far as the character, it's kind of an emotional tie-in with soon-to-be Mrs. Snow.
Right.
We just came back from having a big fight, and it really helps to solidify our relationship in my mind. To move on and to stand tall and to forgive people and all of that, and all of that is expressed in that song. It's a wonderful piece.
Another thing, talk about surprises. When one of the characters who really plays a quiet role and suddenly emerges and does this number. Mm-hmm. Nellie, is it? Or
Nettie.
Nettie is her name.
Carolyn Marcel is the name of the actress who does a beautiful job, I might say.
And it's inspirational, isn't it?
It really is.
It's such a great number, and to me, it knocks you down. I mean, that's the only way I could describe it. Actually, the whole thing is like a flashback, isn't it? Because it starts and you don't know what's happening. One of the nice things about this theater is that the stage lends itself for special effects, and I don't think I'm going to give away any secret when I say that there is a figure who keeps emerging, and he just comes right up out of the stage and disappears, and kind of is a mystery person, isn't he?
Yes.
Because nobody knows where he is, and then suddenly he becomes a very important part of the finale of this.
The conclusion and how it all ties together.
Sure. I guess that's the genius of Rodgers and Hammerstein, that they could create something like that.
Yeah, and also it's also, I have to say, kind of I'm sure it was a thought of our director, Tom Pullum, to have this ability, using that technical ability that we have at the theater to his advantage. I think he's come up with some nice visual scenes and ideas.
The theater lends itself so well through things that can happen. Of course, it's got a turntable that's been used in many, many shows, and not overused. I've made the comment before that there are some shows that don't use them at all. And then, of course, when you get to something like Singing in the Rain, where they produced the rain on the stage and actually had the famous lamppost, Gene Kelly's lamppost, come up on the stage, and then it really rained. Of course, in the intermission, they got people out there with the squeegees cleaning off the tarpaulin and getting it all down there. The theater does lend itself very, very well. And talking about lending itself very well, the classics that are coming up afterwards in April, Fiddler on the Roof, and can't be more classic than that. And let's see what we got after that. That runs through July, and then July, South Pacific, running through August, and then September and October, Man of La Mancha.
Right.
Classics.
Yeah, they're doing some wonderful
classic
pieces.
musical theater, but also dealing with some very, very important themes that are still important themes today. I mean, even some of the oldest musicals, I think musical theater gets unfairly cited as being superficial or fluffy. And yes, there's fluff, but attached to it, at the base of it, are a lot of very important issues. And certainly one of them that sometimes turns people off with Carousel, I have to say, or intrigues them, is the fact that there is wife beating is one of the main issues of the show. And, with today, certain things going on today, obviously it becomes very much in the forefront. And how does one deal with a topic like that?
And it just goes to show how it's been a ongoing problem in our society.
Yes.
And it's still dealing with that same issue. It's not gone.
And this show is so successful. I know Jacques Lesord told me that when it was playing in the Vivian Beaumont, he saw it 8 times. I mean, here's a critic who goes to everything and sees the theater and is so intrigued by Carousel that he went back 8 times to see it. It's such a great show that you got to want to see it over and over again. Another thing is the familiar numbers, I think, plays an important role. When something is new and you're hearing it for the first time, I don't think you appreciate it as much as something that's familiar to you.
Well, yeah, I certainly hope that there's room for growth. You know what I mean? Because you always want to know that there's the new classic that's coming up that people might go home whistling a tune from that show.
But that's not happening these days.
But it's certainly not happening nearly as much.
I mean, the news today is that the new Andrew Lloyd Webber, they're closing it and put aside until they can figure out, and with the top talent in there and so successful, and closing Sunset Boulevard, maybe there's room for new things now. I admire what he does. I'm not one of the people who say that it's all glitter and scenery. I like what he does, and but I think people are looking for more than effects now.
Right.
And certainly the fact that these classics have lasted such a long time certainly help a lot. Right?
Absolutely.
Talk about classics. One of the things that I like about this show is the kids. There are a lot of kids in it.
We have a few children, yes.
And they don't have a big part, and yet, well, what happens? Talk about it a little bit. What happens in that scene? Your kids, right?
Our children. Our kids. Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, there's supposed to be 9 children, but I guess for the sake of the size of the piece, we have actually, 3 little kids, and then we have our 2 sort of older children.
Adults.
You have a photograph of the entire clan.
This is as good as it gets.
Right.
I bet it wasn't hard work producing all those children.
Keeps you busy, right?
Well, that's also an interesting thing about the show I realized, too, in going over the material, is that we all know very specifically what we want out of life. These are not people that don't know what they want. They're not singing, well, other than Billy, who wonders what his child is going to be like, but he has a very strong image of what it might be like, and I know exactly what I want from my life, and so does he. We all know very well, so we pictured it all completely, which is kind of interesting.
But you're a strange mix, the two of you, aren't you? I mean,
it would appear that way, you know. I mean, to see the two different people coming from, you know, how did they get together? But that happens. I mean, that happens in life.
And kind of a dream when you talk about him originally, and then you with your dream about what you want to be and the success that you want to be, and then in the end the apparent success that you have produced. Right. It's a very dramatic story in there. You said to me that you actually had auditioned for a different role.
Yes, I was up for the role of Julie initially, and they ended up offering me Carrie, which I'm eternally grateful for. And Michelle Dawson, who plays Julie, does a wonderful job, and I have worked with her before. We did Showboat together on Broadway, and so it's really a great opportunity to work with her again. So it's a really nice cast of people.
Yeah, good group.
When you spend as much time as we do, it's a very long day when we have 2 show days, and we have a very lengthy break for dinner, and we spend a lot of time together traveling to and fro and everything else. So it's nice to have such a strong, positive, talented group of people.
But you've worked this theater, both of you, before, and it certainly offers things that perhaps other theaters don't have. It's certainly the proximity to New York is very, very important. Of course, you live in Westchester, so it's nice and convenient for you. Right. But the proximity to New York is very, very important.
Yes.
But there's a lot more about this theater. Now, of course, they were in a different location where the facilities weren't as good. I don't know if either of you had worked there. You had worked there before. It's quite different now, behind the scenes as well as in the theater, and the kitchen as well. Or the
kitchen / dressing rooms.
Dressed in the kitchen?
Right next door.
Oh my! Okay, well, glad it's not like that.
There you go.
But it must be a great opportunity to be able to work in a theater such as this, which has these great facilities, and so much can be done with them. When you see the different shows and how they're able to work the sets and how professionally it's all done, I think it must be great. You work different places, both of you, and
well, I have certainly had my share of good opportunities through this theater. It's been very good to me, and I've been.
You did nicely in Guys and Dolls,
and been working in this theater for quite a few years on and off. So it's been a growing process for me, and a place that I can always come back to. And you know, I've gone off and done tours, and I've been lucky enough to be on Broadway, and you know, but it's nice that I can come back and do something, a role like this, you know, and work and can better my craft. So
it is a craft. You don't realize how much craft is in it. As you sit in the theater, I realize it because I've talked to a lot of people in the theater and talked about what it's about. You become different people, don't you?
You do, and not only craft, but a lot of stamina. You know, a lot of you were mentioning the water, everyone having to take care of themselves, and it's really quite a workout to do this 8 times a week. It's a little brutal, you know, sometimes to really be able, by that last show, you've got to give them as fresh a show as you do on that Wednesday matinee. And it's really a challenge. Like an athlete, you have to get yourself physically ready to go out there and give them everything you've got.
Well, you've been doing a great job. And before we forget, we do want to tell the people that if they do want to get information about the show, call the box office. And have you memorized the number?
Absolutely. 592-2222.
Easy number to remember. 914-592-2222. And we'll put that up in the closing credits as well, just to make sure that people can write it down. I really thank you both for coming here and telling us all about what a great show Carousel is. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm sure that your audiences are standing up and cheering, and I'm not talking because it's the thing to do, especially that closing when, well, we can say the Carousel plays an important part in the closing, but I haven't given away too much. And I said, thanks again for coming.
Pleasure.
We've been talking today about Carousel at the Westchester Broadway Theater. I loved it. Really wonderful show. Go see it. I'm Norman Liss. The name of this program is The Way to Go. Until next time, enjoy yourself.